In this tutorial tonight, we're going to look at squaring the club face, because a lot of the issues with strike, with ball flight control, arise because of your body's mechanism to square the face. Often, in an effort to square the face, we're having to make such big compensatory movements, either with the body or with the wrists. We're trying to square the face, probably not using the best, most effective method. So how can we close the face whilst not compromising the transfer of speed and control over the direction we're swinging? How can we ensure that we're going to fire these levers efficiently with control of the face? Well, a lot of this arises because of our inability to close the face before we get to the golf ball, because we're not recognising how to rotate the shaft whilst the club head is lagging behind the hands, and the hands or the wrists are lagging behind the upper body. We're not recognising how this feels and how early we have to actually close the face. Well, what we're going to do in this exercise now is we're going to look at the feelings associated with this movement, because it's all a feeling at the end of the day. So we're going to use our lead arm. Most people are really effective with their trail hand. Often the trail hand is the dominant. Not for everybody, of course. But what we're going to do is we're going to start to look at what the lead arm does, because it's the lead arm that's really giving us maximum leverage, because the lead arm is the big lever. So what's it feel like to have a golf club that's lagging, i.e. this lever is lagging behind this lever, whilst it's rotating and squaring, not compromising the releasing of the levers? Because if I have to release the levers early, it can throw the club out this way, and we all know what that can produce. Alternatively, if I do manage to swing on a fairly inside path, if I'm using this early release and flinging the lever forward, I'm starting to bring the low point too far back. I've got strike issues now, duffing, thinning. I'm adding too much loft, might hit it off the bottom of the club and just launch it too high with too much spin and lose distance. And what can happen is all the distances just close up. So you don't get that much further as you'd expect with the longer clubs. You can hit your 7 iron, 8 iron and 6 iron, but as you get to like the 4 iron and 3 iron or longer clubs, it just stops. So what I want to show you guys is this exercise using the lead arm and rotating the face before we get to the golf ball. It's similar to the toe deep divot, but we're actually going to throw the golf club. But we're not throwing it this way, because it's not a throw this way. In golf, it's a throw this way into the floor. And it's going to give you a very different feeling. Now, be careful here that the golf club doesn't rebound, knock your teeth out. Okay, so here is the accident waiver. Make sure we can't be responsible for anything that arises, any injuries that happen from this. What I'd suggest you do is just be careful, okay, where you do it. I'd suggest a bunker. So go into a bunker and do this. Then you're not going to get the big rebound. But if you do it correctly, you shouldn't get much rebound at all, because what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the golf club so the leading edge digs. So the leading edge is digging into the floor, and you can see if we slow this down, you'll see how far behind the club head is as I let go, and it's rotating into the ground. And I'm applying a force down and out, away from the pivot action of the body. So I'm rotating and I'm creating speed by applying a force away from me, not towards the target. Because in an effort to swing to the target, we can early release and we're actually getting the opposite. We're actually decelerating. So here, we're actually rotating the face whilst the golf club is in a state of lag tension. What I mean by that is that the rotation of the body pulls the club. So without having to pull the club physically or try and put effort in, by just rotating, everything tensions naturally. And you get this kind of look through impact where the club's lagging and it's releasing, and the rotation of the face is happening before you get to the golf ball, so it's not compromising the release. You're not having to do anything drastic before you get to the golf ball to try and square the face. Your body can continue to rotate instead of seeing that all too familiar stalling of the body, maybe even standing up, okay, in an effort to put the brakes on to let this golf club square up. We can actually continue to rotate. So you'll actually be striking the golf ball probably from a more side-on orientation, where the body's already gone and you're actually looking at the golf ball here from side on or even behind you. This is so much later than what I see so often, where the golf club's in front, the body's facing straight on, and the club's passing the body, and we end up with this kind of hunched up finish. Whereas we're going to be able to continue rotating, pivoting the body, and letting the levers get thrown, but they're getting thrown in this direction. So take the club with the lead hand, just make some nice little swings in the air, back and forth, away from anything. Let the wrist hinge. We're not trying to control it, guys. What you might find is you've been trying to put tension in and it's very difficult to let go because you're so used to kind of controlling the takeaway and controlling how you break the wrists. We actually just want to swing it freely, feel the club head, and then when you feel the moment's right, you're going to throw the club head into the floor, but you're going to twist it before it gets there. So the intention is to dig the leading edge like a knife into the floor. And notice the orientation of the lead wrist. It's flexed and it's rotating. It's supinating. Look at the forearm, it's pointing up. The palm is pointing up after I've let go. So this is just exaggerating the feeling of what it's like to square the face up while it's trailing the levers and while it's trailing the pivot, because the pivot pulls the levers and we're squaring the face up during this action, and then we can get a nice freewheeling release. So what I suggest we do now is take it with both hands and do the same exercise. Notice how this looks. Nice free easy swings up and down, just like a pendulum from the wrist. We're not trying to control a swing or force the golf club into staying square or kind of keeping it square, trying to control it under tension. So we're just going to swing freely back and forth, and now with both hands I'm going to throw it into the floor. And if we slow that down, you'll notice as I'm delivering the golf club and letting go, I'm actually rotating the forearms, the wrists, with the intention of striking the ground with the leading edge, just like the toe deep divot. But we're applying the force in a functional direction. And notice how I've rotated just as a function of the intention of throwing the club down. The body rotates anyway. We get all this movement for free. So we don't have to worry about the pivoting action of the body, because the intention of throwing it into the floor creates this movement. Now we're going to make a practice swing without throwing it, but we're going to take a divot. And we're going to allow the continuation of the rotation of the shaft. So it's going to literally point to the floor on the way through. This isn't, guys, teaching a big roll and that relies heavily on timing that I so often see in the comments. What it's actually doing is it's actually allowing us to rotate the body more freely. It's actually going to help switch on the pivot. It's inviting the body to rotate, which then naturally, if I just imagine I just over rotate this face, if I now rotate my body, the rotation of the body, the pivoting action, resists the rotation of the golf club. So in a golf swing, just by allowing the golf club to swing freely, I'm encouraging the body to use its pivot action. I'm enabling it to use its pivoting action, which creates that lag tension in the system through the levers and will naturally control the release. It will tension the release, it will reduce the rate of rotation, and you'll get way less rotation than you'd imagine. In fact, you're controlling it with the body action. Ultimately, you'll be controlling it from the ground up. So it's allowing you to connect into the ground. So this action here, just by allowing you to roll the shaft, is actually going to, when you go to a golf shot, Now, the intention of striking the ball reduces the amount of rotation. So that started right, just drew a little bit, and just a little half swing, just feeling the direction we're applying this force. And the rotation of the club. If I let my body pivot a little bit more actively and really rotate, we get way less rotation of the face. Because the pivoting action, can you see, it's leaving the club behind. So we've got to have a mechanism to be able to close it, and that's the rotation of the shaft, not the extension of the wrists. This is going to happen, but it's going to happen way later as a reaction to the swing weight, freewheeling. So now we can start to expand this and go to a bigger swing. With the feeling of letting the face rotate into the ground. And just allowing the golf club to swing freely. If you want to refresh the feeling, just do the exercise, throw the club into the floor, and then just bring the hands back together post impact and notice how it feels after impact. Notice the orientation of the body. It's a very different form to this. The body's rotating. So what's it like to then recreate that finish? And now swing back and through from that finish. So you're recreating the journey, embedding the feeling of that journey, elevating your level of awareness for where the club is relative to you, and how the movement of the body feels relative to the release of the golf club. That one was a bigger swing. Just letting myself freewheel with it and playing around with the action. So you're feeling what it's like to let go with lag. And when you're actually holding the golf club, you're feeling a freewheeling release. Letting go without letting go. And this exercise is going to allow you to explore that and feel it. We're applying forces in this space, in this direction, with the rotation of the club, which are actually going to result in this kind of release. So we can actually deal off the golf club, strike it higher up the face, compress the ball, and square the face up effortlessly. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed that. Go and explore it. Be careful where you're throwing it. Maybe put some cushions on the floor, or make it safe, the environment, so it's not bouncing back up and hitting you. Find a safe place, a bunker or something like that. Go and explore it. I'm using a 7-iron. You can use an 8-iron or a 9-iron, something like that. Get digging that leading edge into the floor, throwing the club down, and feel what it's like to let go.